playing you the latest music
and keeping you up to date with the trending topics.
You're listening to Station X.
Yes, welcome to Station X. What an incredible and action-packed show we have for you today. I'm so excited to be broadcasting. So coming up, we are going to be having a bit of a debate, really. We're going to be having a discussion/debate on the topic of whether we think TV is dead or is it dying. I mean, I personally do think it's dying because with the rising popularity of streaming services like Amazon and Netflix, you know, people must be watching TV less and less and less. That's certainly the case for me. And of course, we'll be playing you some of the latest and greatest songs. We have a bit of Troye Sivan coming up for you, Lewis Capaldi with his amazing song, and of course, Jorja Smith. And I have to just take a bit of time out on the show right now just to talk about Jorja Smith. She is just on fire at the moment. I mean, she's just recently won a Brit Award for British Solo Female Artist at the 2019 Brit Awards. And of course, at the 2018, she won the Brits Critics' Choice Award. And yeah, I mean, she's just on fire at the moment. Fantastic music that she is producing. And of course, I have to mention her amazing collaborations that she's done with Stormzy, Drake, and even Kendrick Lamar. Huge A-lister celebrities in the music industry. And it was really interesting listening to an interview with her because she said how her music has been greatly influenced by her ethnically diverse background. In fact, her father, who was born in Jamaica, was in a neo-soul group. And this really, she said how much this really influenced her music. So, I mean, yeah, it's just incredible music, and it's so fantastic that she's got all these different influences on her music. And in fact, I'm going to play a bit of Jorja Smith for you right now. Here is Let Me Down featuring Stormzy here on Station X.
Sometimes I wouldn't mind if I was less important. Would you think about them all the time? Wonder if you'll even notice in the morning. So where'd you go when you can't get to me and you just can't control? Sometimes I wouldn't mind if I was less important, but I've got you to let me down. I've got you to let me down. Only you can understand why. I've got you to let me down.
Yeah, yo, slap. You've got me, I ponder on that. Said I'll be back in a sec, I need to reflect, but you swear it's been longer than that. Time is gold and time is thin, but time is rare, so we squander on that. I feel your pain when I hear your voice, so fix your tone and it's stronger than that. And you're like the strongest girl I know, probably the strongest man, it's my mum. Don't go wasting your loving on me. When I see tears on, I'm likely to run, so girl, don't love me, I mean it. When I say I love you, I mean it. And it's my car, I choose to be distant, but it's off, I know what a queen is. So why do I?
To let me down.
Why do you let me down? Why do you let me down?
I've got you to let me down.
Sit tight as your road spins round, but you never had a king till now.
Only you can understand why.
Yeah, you understand why these things never come to play.
I've got you to let me down.
And I'm never gonna let you down. I'm never gonna let you down.
Yeah, I tried, but I just can't give you up. Wonder why is it that I'm not good enough? Some kind of hold over me. I've got you to let me down,
I got you, you got me, I
but
got you.
I've got you to let me down.
If I let you down, will you self-destruct?
Only you can understand why.
Only you can
I
understand.
got you to let me down.
Station X.
Yes, that was Jorja Smith, Let Me Down, featuring Stormzy here on Station X. And just wow, that's all I have to say about that song, wow. And if you want to hear more of Jorja Smith's music, then I strongly recommend that you go out and buy her album Lost and Found, which is just full of more fantastic, great songs. But now we've got some time for some more music here on Station X. As ever, we like to play you the latest and greatest songs. And I'm very excited that the next song that I'm going to be playing is Lauv and Troye Sivan with I'm So Tired. And in fact, I've just recently discovered Troye Sivan's music and I really, really love it. At first, I wasn't that keen on it, but I've been listening to it more and more and I just really, really love it. It's got like a really sort of chilled R&B vibe to it, which I'm, really into at the moment. And just like Jorja Smith, he's done big collaborations as well. He's done, in fact, he's friends. I found this out and I was stunned. He's friends with Ariana Grande. They're long-time best friends. I mean, imagine that, being friends with Ariana Grande, who's probably one of the, if not the most famous person in music right now. I mean, she's had an incredible career. She's got an incredible career. And she's on fire, just like Jorja Smith. But yeah, so he's also, done fantastic collaborations. And in fact, Troye Sivan is the next song here on Station X. So, Lauv and Troye Sivan with I'm So Tired here on Station X.
I'm so tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love. Just wanna go home, wanna go home, wanna go home. Oh, so tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love. Just wanna go home, wanna go home, wanna go home. Oh, party, trying my best to meet somebody, but everybody around me's falling in love to our song. Yeah, hate it, taking the shot cause I can't take it, but I don't think that they make anything that strong, so I hold on. Yeah, I'm so tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love. Just wanna go home, wanna go home, wanna go home. Oh, so tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love. Just wanna go home, wanna go home, wanna go home. Oh, strangers, killing my lonely nights with strangers, and when they leave I go back to our song. I hold on. Hurts like heaven, lost in the sound, buzzcut season, like you're still around. Can't unmiss you, and I need you now. Yeah, yeah. I'm so tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love. Just wanna go home, wanna go home, wanna go home. Oh, so tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love. Just wanna go home, wanna go home, wanna go home. Oh, I'm so tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love. Just wanna go home, wanna go home, wanna go home. Oh, so tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love songs, tired of love. Just wanna go home, wanna go home, wanna go home. Oh,
Isn't that song so catchy? That was Lauv and Troye Sivan. And now it is time for the debate on today's show. And the debate is whether we think TV is dead. Well, I'm very glad to have David Bunker now in the studio, who is head of audience research at the BBC, and he's going to be talking to us and discussing a bit more about the debate that we are having on today's show, and that is whether we think TV is dead. I personally do. But first of all, David, could you please tell me and the listeners exactly what you do at the BBC?
Hi there. Yes, my job is Head of Audience Research at the BBC, so it's my job to keep an eye on what the audience are watching, listening to, or reading from the BBC, and also from the competition. So to find out what they're watching on television, what they're listening to on the radio, or on streaming services like Spotify or Netflix. So it's really just to make sure that the BBC understands what the audience are doing out there, so they can design their services and create new content in the context of what the audience are doing.
Right, okay, that's really interesting. So lots of statistics and things like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so just to start the sort of the discussion, I mean, for this segment, I've been doing a bit of research, and according to statistics released by BBC Worldwide, the amount of time that 16 to 24-year-olds are watching TV has decreased. So in 2012, 16 to 24-year-olds watched on average just above 150 minutes of TV a week, compared to in 2017, when on average they only watched around 100 minutes a week. So the amount of time that 16 to 24-year-olds are watching TV is decreasing year by year, and from the graph it looks like it will continue to decrease. Surely this shows you that, you know, TV has had its time and is now dying out, especially among the youth.
Well, yes, it's a very hot debate in the broadcasting industry, and it's worth just saying that people have been saying that TV's dead for at least 20 years. I think when the video recorder first came out in the 1970s, people said, oh, people aren't ever going to watch live TV anymore, it's all going to be recording. And then satellite television came along and people said nobody's going to watch terrestrial television. And then the PVR came along and people said nobody's going to watch. So this debate's been going on a long time. But what has changed, obviously, in the last sort of 5 to 10 years is the big rise in streaming services. So as I mentioned before, Netflix, Spotify are a real, and YouTube are a real threat to the established broadcasters.
And it's quite clear, I mean, from 2012 to 2017, the amount of time that 16 to 24-year-olds are watching TV has decreased by about 50 minutes.
Yes.
So surely that is a sign that sort of the traditional TV viewing is going.
Well, it's under pressure, but what's interesting is if you look at the time spent using a TV set, it actually hasn't decreased that much. People are using the TV set for other things, so they may be watching TV programs on a streaming service or on YouTube or something. So they're still watching TV, but in a very different way. And they're also watching TV on their phones when they're commuting. They're watching TV on their laptops, on their tablets. So if you look at all the different consumption across all different devices, the decrease is much less. And the other interesting thing is young people have always been a group that don't necessarily watch a huge amount of television because they've got lives, they're out and about, they're socialising, they're doing other things. What we tend to find is that when people get a bit older, when they get a home of their own or get children or get jobs and so are out at work all day, get home, they're tired, they actually come back to the television. So absolutely, it's something we're very aware of at the BBC and all the broadcasters are aware of it, but it's definitely far too soon to say TV is dead.
Right, but I think it's, streaming services are growing massively. Just to give the listeners a bit of context, this was a graph that I found that was released by BARB, so the Broadcasters Audience Research Board, and the amount of households that had a subscription to a streaming service like Netflix in the first quarter of 2014 was 3.83 million households, whereas in the fourth quarter of 2018, 12.3 million households are subscribed to at least one of these streaming services. So over the course of a few years, that's an increase of 8.47 million. So this must be very worrying to broadcasters like the BBC and ITV. This must be a big threat, and they surely are worried about this.
Yes. Well, absolutely, it's something they're very conscious of. It's worth saying that's still only about half of households that even have a streaming service. So half the households don't have one, so it's not everybody. The feeling is that it's going to start slowing down now. The growth has been dramatic, but probably isn't going to carry on at the same rate. But absolutely, we do expect that within 5 to 10 years, everybody will have an alternative TV service. But if you look at the actual amount of consumption of these services, it's often a lot less than the terrestrial broadcasters. So people might be watching one or two things or three or four things a week on Netflix, but are still watching a lot of things on conventional terrestrial TV. So I think the challenge to terrestrial TV is to offer things that young people want to watch, because a great example is Love Island last year. Whilst Love Island was on, young people very much were watching TV in very big numbers. They weren't, consuming Netflix, they weren't consuming other services. They were absolutely glued to their TV, and not just TV on their phones, but actually on the main TV set in their households. So if we create the content that they want, we're very confident that they will come back.
Right, okay, so thank you very much for joining us. That's given us quite an insight into what exactly the BBC thinks and what they are doing. So thank you very, very much for coming in and talking today on Station X. And now it is time for some more great music. We have got a bit of Lewis Capaldi with Someone You Loved here on Station X.
I'm going under, and this time I feel there's no one to save me. This all and nothing really got away, you're driving me crazy. I need somebody to hear, somebody to know, somebody to have, somebody to hold. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. I'm going under, and this time I feel there's no one to turn to. This all and nothing way of loving, go be sleeping without you. Now I need somebody to know, somebody to hear, somebody to have, just to know how it feels. It's easy to say, but it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you help me escape. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. And I tend to close my eyes when it hurts. Sometimes I fall into your arms. I'll be safe in your soul till I come back around. For now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you love, but now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. I let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved.
Playing you the latest music.
and keeping you up to date with the trending topics.
You are listening to Station X. Station X.
Oh, what an absolutely amazing song. Absolutely love it. That was Lewis Capaldi with Someone You Loved. Hasn't he been successful recently? Honestly, he's been on like every single radio station. Oh, I just think his music is just so pure, and I think he's a really down-to-earth person. I think that's why I love his music so much. He's absolutely fantastic. But now I'm quite excited for this, because it is time for our phone-in. Today on the show we have been discussing whether we think TV is dead. And on the line we have Carla May. Carla, can you hear us? Okay, so yeah, Carla is on the line. She has phoned up for the phone-in, and today we are discussing whether we think TV is dead. So, do you think TV is dying? What's your opinion?
I personally think TV is dead, just because there are so many streaming services out there now.
Yeah.
That you can just watch it all on demand. Like even BBC, you have BBC iPlayer. So
Right.
really, there is no need for you to watch it at a certain time on TV. And
Yeah.
you can just watch it whenever you want.
Yeah, and so are you a frequent user then of things like Netflix and Amazon?
Yeah, definitely. I have Netflix and Amazon Prime, and obviously the free ones like BBC iPlayer. And I'd say I probably watch TV only a couple hours a week, because especially adverts, no one wants to watch adverts anymore. And so when you have streaming services, it's just quick and easy.
Yeah, it's very interesting you say that. So do you think then the amount of TV you are watching is decreasing as these streaming services are getting more popular?
Definitely. And now that you can download shows on streaming services,
Yeah.
more reason for me not to watch TV. And obviously, if you have people don't really have Sky anymore, because I feel like if you have a PlayStation or an Xbox, you just then have all the streaming services on there, and you can just get to them quick and easy.
Yeah.
And no one really needs big Sky, and even Freeview is free, but
Yeah. Right, yeah. So it's very interesting you say that. So what do you think is the most appealing thing about these streaming services? You say about, you can skip ads and things, but are you a binge watcher? Do you binge watch programs, which obviously you can't do on mainstream TV? Are you a big binge watcher?
Yeah, I definitely do binge watch shows a lot.
Yeah.
I just think the way they look as well, they look a lot nicer, and you can obviously binge, you can watch them over and over again, and you haven't got to wait a week to watch it. I think
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
You have to wait. Like, you watch a show on TV, and then you have to wait until next week, and you kind of forget what's going on. Whereas with streaming services, it's an episode after an episode all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for phoning in and giving us your opinion. So thank you very, very much. Sadly, that is all we have time for today here on Station X. But thank you so much for listening. And of course, a big thank you for Carla for phoning in. And of course, David Bunker for joining us in the studio earlier on. But yeah, that is all we have time for. What a fantastic show it's been. And if you want to listen to it all over again, you can do just that by heading on to SoundCloud, giving it a thumbs up if you liked it, and of course, leaving a comment. And you can even download this radio show podcast. So if you're at a place that has no Wi-Fi, then you can listen to us all over again. But thank you very much for listening. But that is all we have time for. Thank you.
Playing you the latest music.
and keeping you up to date with the trending topics.
You are listening to Station X.